family. So, updates for what's been going on as of late. Apologize for the silence over the last about a week or so. All that boils down to been having a lot of doctor's visits and physical therapy. I had an MRI. Blah 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 blah. Healthcare related stuff. So that is what it is. It's been taking up a lot of my time as of late because of something I'm about to hit on in terms of real talk. So, real talk. What is going on soon? Before I let myself forget, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell to make sure that you know when the videos come out, because as I mentioned before, which I'm going to shoot the video for that right after this, I am going to be changing up my formula when it comes to video releases and all that kind of stuff. So watch out for that. I'm trying to shoot it right after this one so I can do it back to back and release both of them roughly at the same time. We'll see how that plays out. Yeah, so that is what it is. Anyway, keep up with me. I appreciate it if you do. With that all being said, future expectations. So, real talk moment, like I mentioned a second ago. What I have coming up, which is just shy of 2 weeks from now, is basically surgical procedures to try to fix the problem that I've been having that has made me basically temporarily disabled. What it all boils down to is most likely going to be day or two as far as the procedure in itself is concerned getting done, and then I'm expecting to spend about 2 months basically not necessarily in specific recovery, but in initial recovery, because it's a two-step process. So hopefully that'll be said and done in about a 2-month period. Then maybe there's an extra 1 month in there or more where I will be getting back to being functional and mobile and whatnot. But there's at least a solid 2-month period that I'm going to be down and out. Not necessarily inaccessible. That's the word I'm looking for. Not necessarily inaccessible, but generally down as far as getting stuff done. Depending on how things play out with all of that, like location, situations, and things along those lines, I may or may not be available in terms of being able to shoot videos, keep you guys abreast of what my plans are, what I have been doing, what I am intending on doing, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Up in the air at the moment. Not to say that the procedure is up in the air, but the post-op stuff, I'm not quite sure exactly how that's going to play out. I'm having discussions with people to see what my options are so we can solidify something hopefully before I actually get on the table. We'll see. Anyway, that is the future plans. The post situation, I've decided to opt out of doing the floor before this all goes down. I thought I would be able to make time to at least get that started and get like maybe the front half possibly ripped up and at least something in place, like a subfloor to some degree with the insulation and whatnot. But healthcare related stuff ate up so much of my time that that didn't play out the way I wanted it to. So I'm just gonna say screw it for now and handle that in the aftermath. Hopefully I can get that done before I actually start taking the bus anywhere to do anything with. If I'm lucky, I'll be able to get the wheels taken care of before my downtime starts, but we'll see. Because I would like to get those replaced, because honestly, I don't really feel comfortable going much of anywhere with the front tires being 30% tread and the back tires being 40% tread. I either want to get new or I want to get used good condition I gotta see how cost-wise that'll play out. I gotta find a source for the tires themselves as well as a place that'll actually do it, because transit bus can't just take it down to my local shop and expect anything to happen. So that is what it is. What has been going on up to this point since the last video has pretty much just been redecorating, shall we say. Basically, I'm organizing things in a fashion in preparation for one of the possibilities of my situation being basically being in the bus during my 2-month time frame. I'm working to get a lot of things that I need in place so that would be feasible. But we'll see how that plays out. I mean, at the end of the day, it's one of the better options, just as far as in terms of being able to take care of myself by myself, if that ends up being the situation and how things play out. But it's one of a few possibilities, so we'll see. But yeah, bringing things in the bus that I'm gonna need for that 2-month period at very least. Arranging things how I want them to be, because ultimately this is a good opportunity for me to actually do the base layout of everything that for what I have on hand, getting it in the bus, getting it where I want it so I can get a feel for what's what, and if I like the ideas that I've had. And honestly, when it comes to like tearing the floor up and doing the things I need to do in that respect, I'll be able to, because I'm not going to really solidify anything as far as like strapping, well not strapping, but bolting to the floor or anything like that until, preferably until after I replace the floor. But we'll see what happens. But even in such, the plan when it comes to the floor is if I do things the way that it's playing out in my head, I'll be able to move things out when I do finally reach the point of swapping the floor out. Since I'm lucky enough to have the bus be split in half basically, so I have an upper back portion and a lower front portion, I can actually do it in sections, which gives me the ability to basically, when I do the front floor, I can pack everything that I want in the back to just fill up space, and then move stuff that doesn't fit in the back outside of the bus for that day or whatever, in order to rip the floor up, as well as, you know, most likely what I'm going to end up doing is not putting primer, but putting some type of sealing paint of some sort for the rust and whatnot on the subfloor. I'm 99% sure that I have a subfloor, because with removing some of the seats in the front, the holes that go actually straight through, so I can see concrete in the ground, or concrete in the ground, the concrete or the ground. Anyway, I can see straight through, so I can tell that there is a subfloor that the rubber is probably adhered to, but then I can also tell that there's another floor below that, because there's basically space. I don't know if it's actually insulated or not, but from where the holes are, if you look at it at the right angle, you don't see like a hole straight through like a tunnel. It's more like a hole here and a hole there kind of thing, and you can see space in between. So there is some type of a metal subfloor below everything else, which is a good thing, because I was not sure if I had that, and I was trying to come up with ways to pull off getting that if I needed that, because I don't want to have basically a subfloor that's just the wooden surface. I want a metal surface that encases all of that, so that it feels more secure, safer. You know, I have less to worry about in terms of something while I'm on the freeway caving through and falling out of the bottom of the bus onto the freeway or whatever. That was a fear of mine if I did not have an actual metal base floor. But I think I do, so I shouldn't have to worry about that. But I'll find out officially once I rip this floor up. That is information that I think I know given my current circumstances. We'll see when we get to that point. But all that said, I'll be able to work around the situation when it comes time to do this floor. That's also kind of one of the reasons why having this front space be, you guys can't see my hand gestures, I'm not going to worry about it though. Having this front space be mostly open at the base. Like I'm going to have my overhead storage, but the majority of what's going on the floor level is going to be mostly open, minus the kitchen area, which makes it easier for me to move stuff in and out. One, when it comes to doing shows and getting my display and everything to the spot that it needs to be in, but also when it comes to the remodeling of the floor, I will be able to move stuff in and out very easily to get that taken care of. So, that said, I can do front half, let that set, see if I'm happy with that, because all said and done, it gives me the ability to test my investment and not go straight through with it. So if I don't like how the front floor is in general, I will have wasted less money, and the supplies that I got for replacing the flooring, I can then sell off what I haven't used for the back and do something else for the back if I want to, or vice versa. It gives me more modularity, shall we say, in my process. Moving past that, cleaning and organizing has been pretty much my main priority, and kind of just getting a feel for what it's like to spend extended time in the bus. So, putting things in their place and testing layouts, which I got about 3 or 4 different ideas for the back section, which is currently taped off. But I've just about solidified how I want to do that. So, pretty much just cleaning and organizing at this point. I have pictures because a couple of things that came out of the decision to do this revolves around how I'm going to lay out some things. So, like where the cabinets are behind me on my left, that's basically the kitchen area, like I mentioned before. But actually having those cabinets there, now that I have my display in milk crates, has helped to get a feel for whether or not I like that layout. I'm probably going to stick with it. It's just a matter of getting things level and functional officially, because I don't have, I have a sink, but I don't think the sink that I got is going to fit in that spot. So I'm either going to get a different one and most likely give that one away, because I did get it for free. So, or I'm going to build something that suits my needs, which wouldn't be too hard. All said and done, I got a couple of ideas. I just had another idea just now, thinking about it. So there's a couple of different ways I can do it. And then with the overhead storage, which I'm going to see at some point in time in the next week, if I can play things out the way I want to in terms of the utilization of that, as well as my display, because ultimately, and I'm going to show a picture probably right about here, because I took one a couple of days ago. In any event, I have a milk crate bungee system, very simple, straightforward, that utilizes the rails that are already built into the bus. So if I do anything related to the walls and the ceiling, I'm going to replace the rails that I have there when I'm done, because I like what I have. I don't see a point in changing it unless I come up with a better idea for how that's set up. Anyway, milk crate bungee system for the overhead storage, which will work out extremely nicely with having modularized my display setup in terms of how everything's packed together, because it will give me the opportunity to set up all of my display that's in the crates as overhead storage, which works out for me in a couple of different ways. One of the biggest ones is that it gives me more floor space if I need to store anything else in here during my travels, whether it's me picking up stuff that I get from shows, like from other vendors or whatever, or if I purchase things that I need for the bus or for the shop, and the smartest way to transport them is putting them in the bus. One example of that would be one of my local suppliers for wood. I can actually purchase that wood in 5x5 sheets. Given the size of this vehicle, I can, if I feel like it, go and buy 10 or 15 or maybe even 20 of those at one time, take the bus out there, pick them up, put them in the bus. Most likely they're going to end up staying stored in here anyway, because it's one of the easiest ways for me to have what I need on the go. And one of my ideas is either to have or build some structures in order to be able to on site cut down the material that I need for when I need it, which makes, given the situation, makes it easier to store as is. But I digress. There's opportunities there, is what I'm basically saying, to be able to work with what I got in a way that makes everything more efficient for me. So that's what that is all about. From there, the next real talk moment is basically going to be in regards to the build in of itself, just the all-encompassing build. So if it hasn't already been made obvious by what you've seen me do up to this point, I'm going to make it obvious now. This is probably not going to be super pretty. This is probably not going to be the kind of build that when you walk through it with a camera, it's going to look like something from the Home and Garden Network. It's just not. That's not how I roll. That's not how I live. That's not how I function. I'm not really a highly aesthetic person when it comes to my workspace or my dwelling. I'm more functional. I like to get stuff done. It's nice to have things that look nice, but it's not a necessity. So the progression of this build is probably going to be function over fashion, in reference to getting the things I need in place to do what I need to do, and then upgrading as I see fit. Which, truth be told, makes for a much longer build process to be able to share with you guys. Because not only do you see me get to build everything out and make it functional for my needs, but as I go places and do things, you will see me progress that build into making it look and function nicer and nicer. Because I'm not completely against nice aesthetics, but it's not a priority for me. So with that being said, on the back end of that, that also means that a lot of my ideas will be probably initially haphazard, or at least seemingly haphazard in concept, or they would be just generally out of the box. So like a lot of the materials and items that I am acquiring for this project, which is, I'm going to say 40, 60-ish, as far as like trying to save money, because it's not really about saving money as much as it is being unique and stretching my ability to be creative with what I do, because I am by nature an artist, more of a construction type of artist than drawing type of artist. I like to build things, but still. Anyway, you're gonna see a lot of stuff that is either on some level used. I don't necessarily want to say garbage picked, but that's always a possibility. Or built out of something else. I'm gonna take apart something to build something else, which is, as an example, one of the things that I've been doing as of late is accumulating angle iron in the form of bed frames. Those have a few different projects that I intend on chopping them up and turning them into. There's a few different ideas that I have. I may or may not follow through with those ideas in that fashion, but I will have the material on hand to be able to build whatever the hell I need. And that's what really matters to me. Same goes with having the tools, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing things the way that I'm doing, because once I have solar and general power in the bus, as well as access to shore power or what have you, having the ability to do woodworking, like actual straight up woodworking, with power tools and whatnot, is a thing that I expect to be able to do in general, let alone as I go places and do things out and about. I'm gonna have a decent amount of tools with me that allow me to do that. Those same tools, I'm most likely gonna have accessories to those tools that allow me to do metalwork as well. So, like being able to chop up the bed frames and whatnot. This gives me the ability to spend some of my downtime actually continuing the build, whether the build is functional or not. Because I'm always about continuous evolution and improvement. That's just kind of one of my philosophies in life. I like to create things, and then once I create the thing, come back to it at a later point in time and see how I can improve it for the sake of efficiency, the sake of general functionality, or adding functionality to it. I'm like that with the computers that I build. I'm like that with the designs that I make, with the laser cutting that I do. I'm always about trying to improve myself and my projects. So this is not going to be any different than any of the rest of that stuff. This is basically just the biggest project that I've ever done in my life related to that. I'm going to function the same way that I function with all the other stuff. It's just going to be on a larger scale. So that is what it is. That is pretty much the majority. Well, you know what? Actually, one thing I am forgetting, I did finish my locking mechanism. I am going to produce a video sometime in the next couple of days, hopefully, in regards to that. Well, touching on that officially. It's not going to be a video revolving just around that, because there's not enough to really say about that. It's a simple, straight up setup that's clever in its own way and generally simplistic, and gets the job done. So, I want to finish getting it the way that I want it before I actually present it, because right now it's just functional, but I want to have it all wrapped up in a nice, pretty bow when all said and done. That's something that I kind of want the aesthetics to play out, because I don't like the fact that it just kind of looks like it's slapped in place, regardless of how functional it may or may not be. Anyway, hopefully what I just said was heard over those motorcycles. I apologize for the background noise. Every now and then my neighbors, which I guess is a auto body shop or something along those lines, they'll occasionally ride some mopeds that they have back and forth along the street, because it's a long enough strip for them to be able to like open them up and play with them for a little bit. Anyway, hopefully that won't be too much background noise in general for the rest of this video. So yeah, the lock mechanism is done. The cable management systems, I still got to put up the cover for this side that I took down, because since I've decided to keep it as is for the most part and utilize it for my solar and power needs in general, actually cable management needs in general, because I can think of a couple other things that are not power related, which would make sense to have the cables run through there to go from point A to point Z. But anyway, you're leaving it up, leaving it in place. Just got to put the cover back on it so that it, one, it looks better than it does now, because just wires exposed does technically look bad. But two, also so that I can get my crates up and see how they look and feel in that space. Still got my secret project that I haven't mentioned to anybody yet, which is probably half obvious at this point. That's going to be going over the wheel well in the front that doesn't have the locker over it. Still got to do some modifications with that locker too. I like it, generally speaking, as is, but I want to make the space usage more efficient, because it has a rack mounted system in it. Well, it's just the rack. There's no system in there anymore because that was where they kept the recording equipment for monitoring the bus to make sure people weren't, killing each other while they were riding the bus, or to record that if they are, so they have evidence that it happened. Anyway, I want to take the structure that's in there out and kind of rebuild the internals of that so that it's more efficient as far as usage is concerned. Because I want my batteries to be in there on the base and then have shelving for other stuff above the batteries. But that's probably most likely going to be my what's the word I'm looking for? Not breaker box. That's basically going to be where all the power related stuff is going to be at home. And I don't see any reason to have it anywhere else. It's a nice, obvious, functional spot, and it gets the job done. And I have no reason to take that down for the sole purpose of rebuilding a completely new setup in order to meet those needs. It's a waste of energy and effort. So I'm going to utilize what I got and make it work. That being said, that's pretty much all I really have for today. I've got plans to get more organization done and get more order done, and probably find a better home for my grid wall that's behind me. That's currently part of my display. We'll see if that continues to be part of my display because I've been chewing on some ideas on how to improve my display on a couple of different levels. One, the amount of weight that I'm moving around with, because truth be told, as far as individual items are concerned, well, not individual items, but individual sections of the display, my grid wall is the heaviest thing that I carry with me by far. And there are slightly more elaborate but lighter ways that I can have that same setup and do that generally same design, which I will, for the fun of it, so people understand what I'm talking about, I will throw in a picture of what my display looks like when it's fully built. But it's basically a 7x7 square. Well, actually, it's a 7x7 cube because it's 7 feet wide, 7 feet tall, and 7 feet long. So yeah, it's a 7-foot cube of space that I have laid out for my display, which makes sense to me because most conventions, if you have a full-size booth, it's 10 by 10, and usually the ceiling, if it's in a bigger convention center, the ceiling, or if it's in a hotel, the ceiling tends to be at least 10 feet tall, if not 20, 30, or 40, depending on the size of the convention center. So I made it so that there was enough room for me to have the layout and then have a side space about 3 feet wide so I could walk out and walk in when I'm stepping away from the booth for whatever reason. Because sometimes I will have an inline booth. And if I have my display as wide as my booth, I can't get in and out. I'm not that person that crawls under the table in order to do that. That's, convention culture thing in general, particularly for artists, because artists tend to be crammed together in ways that make it more difficult to be able to get in and out of their booth. But I digress. That's the space that I built into my design so that it makes sense for me. I'm a bigger guy, so crawling under stuff is just not cool. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna throw a picture in here in regards to that, so you guys see what I'm talking about, and see how those get utilized in relation to the display in and of itself. But yeah, I'm gonna be upgrading that and modifying it a bit to suit my needs, because some ideas have come to me in regards to making that more functional and modular from a build that I'm doing for someone else for their display. So just feeds right back into what I was saying before about constantly upgrading and improving things that I build, which will be happening with this bus. Anyway, that is all the news that is fit for print today, as one of the newer guys that I started following on YouTube likes to say. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for following me and paying attention to all this nonsense that I'm talking about and all this craziness that I'm doing with this ridiculously unique build, regardless of uniqueness by what I'm doing or what I'm building in, because so few people actually work with transit buses. So I'm more of a trailblazer than I like to give myself credit for. I don't like to really think about it. It's just I'm doing what I choose to do because it's what I want to do. It just so happens to be super unique. But yeah, anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for following. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for giving me the time of day. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, enjoy your life. Peace.